Hello, buddies, it's Guillotine here, and welcome to my manga collection. Now, before we get into this, I just want to briefly say what's going on here with this video. So, I'm not making this video because I have some massive manga collection of amazingness to dazzle you with, like so many other content creators. There's so many manga YouTube channels out there who just have these incredible collections, just walls to wall, basically a library of manga with every title under the sun. That is not me. I have a very, very small collection as I literally just started getting into collecting manga and getting really, really into reading it. And I'm making this video because I just needed it to make a video, and I came up with this idea, and I thought it was really, really good. So I'm currently waiting for a BBTS package to arrive. I was hoping that was going to be my next video, but taking a little bit longer than I was expecting it to be. So I needed a video, and I came up with this idea, and I think it's going to be really, really cool because I've been recently reading so much manga recently, as I have been telling you in recent videos, and I haven't followed up on any of them. I haven't been like a full review of this or whatever, you know, giving my thoughts on whatever, and I haven't followed up on any of them. I said I was gonna do a full review of Pun Pun. I finished the manga and I never did it, and I just couldn't come up with enough things to say to fill up a full video. Like, I have things I want to say about all these series, but I just didn't have enough to fill up a full video. Then I came up with this idea because I got really hooked on watching manga collection videos on YouTube, and I got this idea and I thought it was really good. So my collection is not that big, but this video is less to show you my collection and more for me to give all my thoughts on all these mangas that I've recently been reading in a more fast-paced format, you know, not like giving a whole video to one series or whatever, you know. I'll be able to get everything that I want to say about all of these things that I've been reading out in this one video. So I apologize, I'm not trying to clickbait you here for this big manga collection. It is technically a manga collection, but it's less about to show you the manga collection and more for me to finally get to talk about all of these mangas that I recently read, that I have just been really just had all my opinions and thoughts on just crammed in here. Been very seldomly been able to talk about any of them. Let it all out in this video. And I have just been really loving getting into manga recently. It is so much fun. One thing I love about collecting manga is the releases. The publishers who release these mangas do such an amazing job with the physical releases. I am someone who has always loved physical media. I love Blu-rays. I have my whole Blu-ray shelf over there. I love collecting special edition Blu-rays and box sets and stuff. I love stuff like that. So, and I've always kind of enjoyed, I've always liked hardcover books and like that. I've always enjoyed them, but I've never been a reader. I've never really been into reading books or novels or anything like that. But manga has captured my heart, and it makes me so happy that I can finally start buying these really awesome book releases. I love them, and I hope that my collection will continue to grow with them. I'm not so interested in stuff like the single volumes and whatnot. I'm more interested in these very premium releases that you can see back here. We'll be going over all of these in this video. But I also do have, you know, some of the standard, you know, your standard go-to manga volumes right here. There's some series that I do want to collect in this as well. Oh, one more thing I wanted to throw out there real quick, just in case. This is all my opinion. Everything in this is going to be my opinion. You're not going to agree with everything, and I'm going to say some pretty controversial stuff in this video. There's going to be some takes in here that honestly might anger some of you, and I apologize. That is not my intention. It is all just my opinion. I respect your opinion. I only ask that you respect mine as well. And I will try to justify every single opinion. And I really felt like I needed to get that out there for when I talk about this first manga, Berserk. In my collection, I have the first two Berserk Deluxe editions. I have only, however, read the first one, which you can see back here. I've only read that one. And my honest opinion, after reading the first book, I bought this shortly after. I bought both of these basically at the exact same time because I really wanted to get into the series. I was expecting to really get into it because if you don't know Berserk, I mean, if you don't know, that's crazy. This is the highest rated manga of all time. It is literally the top dog in a completely unanimous decision. Almost everybody and their mother will be what is the best manga of all time? And 90% of them will say Berserk. So I bought the first two books because I wanted to get into it. I wanted to give it a try, and I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is about this series, but it just doesn't really want to latch me. I've tried jumping into this second book several times. It's not for me, I guess. I'm not sure what it is about this, but it's just not doing it for me. That first book in particular, the panels were just so dark and it was almost impossible to follow the action. This is one issue I do have with manga, is that action is usually very, very hard to follow. Let's talk about this more throughout this video. But that first book of Berserk, biggest example of that by far, because it was just so impossible to follow what was going on while reading that. And I remember just flipping back and forth between the pages trying to put any semblance of how this action is going, and I just couldn't make any of it work. And I don't know, just nothing about the story really works for me. I thought it got pretty interesting at the end of the first book when the bad guys first showed up, like Griffith and all the others, like the girl with the snake hair and that short guy and like the guy with the brain showing and all that. You know what I'm talking about, right? They show up at the very end of the first book, of the first like 3 volumes, because each of the deluxe editions takes in 3 volumes. They show up at the very end of that, and that was when I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. But that entire book up to that point, I just wasn't into at all. And I've tried so many times to jump into this second book, and I can't even get past the first couple pages. Like, this story just kind of doesn't really interest me. I don't know if it's the setting of like old like dark fantasy or whatnot with like goblins and orcs and shit. Like, that just doesn't really do it for me. I've never been a big fan of like the Lord of the Rings or anything like that. At some point, I'll probably try and give it another really like good college try before I fully give up on the series, but it's just not really working for me. But we'll talk about a seinen later on in this video, that is. So that's the first one, Berserk. Next up on the agenda, I want to go ahead and tackle my Junji Ito. So Junji Ito is currently my favorite mangaka of all time. I will say Kishimoto is coming for him like big time, but at the moment that title is being held by Junji Ito. I do love horror, and Junji Ito is the master of horror when it comes to manga. There are other names, but Junji Ito is the one that you always hear the most. And as you can see, I have a pretty sizable collection of Junji Ito manga back here. I really, really love what Viz has done with his releases, and I'm going to go through these in my ranking of them. And a lot of you are probably expecting me to start with Uzumaki, because it seems like everybody and their mother always starts with Uzumaki. Uzumaki's the best. But nah. Me personally, Gyo is my favorite. And from what I've seemed to conclude or whatever, when it comes to Junji Ito fans, you're either a huge fan of this manga or you absolutely hate it. And honestly, if you absolutely hate this manga, I don't know if you can call yourself a Junji Ito fan, because this is everything Junji Ito does at his best. It's absurd. It is so crazy, the story of this, and somehow it absolutely works, and it is horrifying. The entire time I was reading this manga, I was just so uncomfortable feeling. It just kept escalating and getting more horrific and more fucked up, and oh man, it stuck with me so much. This has stuck with me harder than almost any other manga ever. Like, I can almost verbatim recount the story of this because it was just so horrifying to read. The way he portrayed what the threat in this, if you don't know what Gyo is, if you've never heard of it, it is a manga about freaking walking like zombie fish that like attack people on the shore. You can see there's this like shot where you can see them like running around right here. You got like a shark coming up on sea right here. Crazy stuff like this. If you've never heard of this, this is the most redonkulous thing you've ever heard in your life. And the even more redonkulous thing about this is how fucking horrifying this thing is when you read it. And it's mostly about how Junji Ito goes about this disaster, where he uses the smell as an actual like element of the horror. It's so unnerving when you're reading it, because the way the characters describe it and you're picturing in your head how it would smell. Like, we've all smelled fish before. I personally hate seafood. I have never enjoyed seafood except for lobster. I do enjoy a lobster, but seafood just ain't for me. I hate the smell, I hate the texture, I hate all of it. And reading this, the way the characters would describe the smell and how it would never leave, because the fish are walking, so they're just chasing people down and they can never escape the smell. The smell is everywhere. Absolutely fucking horrifying. And then they even escalate that aspect of it as well towards the end of the manga, where you start to kind of unravel what is going on with this disease, because there's kind of 2 elements to the disaster in this. If you haven't read it, the whole walking fish thing, there's 2 major elements to this. There's the mechanical element aspect of it, and then there's the disease aspect of it. There's 2 things that kind of perfectly go in tandem to create the disaster that happens in this manga. I can't even fathom how someone who says they love Junji Ito cannot appreciate the genius of Gyo. It is immaculate. It is my favorite by a country mile. I love this so much. It's horrifying, it's disgusting, and the way he goes about this disaster as well. I know I've said that so many times, but like, bring up like the shark here. So there's this part where the shark is like chasing them down in the house. Like they're literally in the house. And the way he goes about it with like this ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Like he's like, that's the sound that the freaking spider legs are going, and they're just hearing that downstairs walking up. So terrifying. There's also a segment like towards the like the middle or probably towards the beginning where like one of the characters gets cut by one of the legs. You can see in the picture here, they have like these legs and they're very sharp at the end. And there's like, and one of them gets like cut by it. And it's just, that person has it bad for the rest of the thing. It's just horrifying, dude. You put yourself in this situation. You're like, what on earth would I do in this situation? Because there's damn near nothing you can do. If you've read this, oh my goodness, the ending and everything, this is one of the most horrifying things I have ever read. Like, people constantly say, Goodnight Pun Pun will fuck you up for like the rest of your life. This fucked me up far more than Goodnight Pun Pun, and I still love it, man. Just talking about this is making me realize why Junji Ito became my favorite mangaka of all time, because this is such an extraordinary manga, and I just can't even fathom how someone could not appreciate this. It's amazing. And I remember hearing like a few clips from people saying like he doesn't even explain what's going on in the story. Yes, he does. He does explain what's going on in the story. You get the explanation for what is going on and how this disaster occurred. Very, very, very well crafted, this mystery and how this disaster occurs. It's just brilliant. If you've never read Gyo, as long as you can stomach it, highly recommended. There was, I will not lie, towards the end of this, I almost threw up. Just gonna throw that out there. There's a part where one of the characters falls into this wash, and it's just filled with the fish, and it is beyond repulsive. But that'll do it for Gyo. And now I'll get the unanimous favorite out of the way, Uzumaki. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this manga. It was the second Junji Ito manga. Yes, Gyo was my favorite. I started with my favorites. Don't know if that played a part in it being my favorite, but regardless, it is my favorite. Uzumaki, though, absolutely immaculate. And I will say this is my personal favorite of the physical media releases. The Gyo release is also absolutely gorgeous. This is my personal favorite manga publisher right now. They just knock it out of the park with these releases, these hardcover and beautiful covers right here. Look at these, man. Oh, not having these in your collection is a crime. But talking about the actual story, this is one of the manga that if you are into manga, you've probably read it. It's one of the most famous mangas of all time, undoubtedly. And it's just a very solid read. It has almost a full, complete mystery in such a short time. It takes about 2 sittings to read this. It took me 2 sittings anyway. Very fast, just keeps going, just never really lets up. You get mystery after mystery, this after this. This scenario occurs, and nothing ever gets resolved in this, which is what makes it so horrifying, because the characters are going through this horrible, traumatic disaster of this curse of the spirals. And they go into this horrifying thing, like something absolutely horrifying will happen, like blood-sucking mosquitoes that turn you into these fucking vampires. And by the end of the chapter, by the end of the story, nothing is resolved. It's just left there. You're just going through this town and all of these horrifying things are happening and they're just being left there. A girl gets her life drained out of her by her hair growing so much it takes all of her life away. She just becomes a skeleton hanging on this flagpole, and they just leave her there because what the hell are you supposed to do about it? And you can't get out of the town if you haven't read it. The town just spirals endlessly if you try and get out of it. So it's just a waking nightmare from beginning to end. It doesn't waste any time. It gets right into it. The very first chapter, probably one of the most chilling of all. It's the one where you have the dad who's obsessed with spirals. I'm sure you've all seen the famous shot of them opening up the barrel and the dad's in there all contorted and spiraled up. One of my favorites is when they cremate the dad and his spirit is in the sky. And this, just crazy. Look at that artwork, man. Oh, Junji Ito really is the GOAT, man. Kishimoto is coming for him, but man, Junji Ito really is something special. This artwork is just extraordinary, man. Just the way he goes about with the spiral, with the disaster, all these scenarios coming out, it really is one of a kind. It really, truly is. Yeah, nothing but amazing things to say about Uzumaki. Even though it's not my absolute favorite, it deserves the love it gets. Want to quickly address, yes, I don't have Tomie in my collection. I did at one point have it, but I didn't really like it. I wasn't a fan of it. I read the whole thing. It was just a bunch of short stories, very repetitive in my opinion, and I didn't like the character of Tomie, and I really liked the first part that was all connecting. That was really, really cool where, she goes down into like the underneath of, in like the water, and there's like the Tomie statue going out. Like all that part was really, really cool. But once it became just like the stories, that was when it just kind of lost me. I finished it all, and I was like, and then I ended up selling it off because I didn't really care for it. So I know it's a hot take for a Junji Ito fan, but personally didn't really care for Tomie that much. I really liked that first bit where it was all connected. I really like when Junji Ito does a full-length story. We'll talk about the short stories in a second, but I really, really love it when he does long-form stories. I know a lot of people say he's much better at the short stories, but in my opinion, I strongly disagree. I think he does really amazing jobs when he does a long-form story, and I did really, really enjoy the long-form story part of Tomie, and then when it became the short stories, I kind of fell off of it. But with that being said, we need to move on to my next favorite, Ramina. Oh man, I love Ramina, and this is one that I really, really recommend for newcomers to Junji Ito because it's super fast. Literally, this is the entire story, one volume, super fast. You can read it in like an hour basically, and it is just perfect. This is peak Junji Ito. I absolutely love this manga. It's brilliant. It's about a scientist who discovers a star, and he names the star after his daughter, and then the star starts like rampaging towards Earth, like just like taking out everything in its path, destroying planets, eating planets, and when it gets to Earth, all the population just like freaks out and they try and blame it all on the daughter. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. It really goes into how like the human psyche just breaks down under pressure, like trying to find any way to get out of this horrible, unstoppable force. It's absolutely bananas, and I loved every second of it. I especially loved towards the end when the planet just got super malicious. Like she starts doing these like, there's like this part where these like rich people are trying to like find a way to survive. So they discover that like you can live on Ramina. So they're like, we're gonna turn Ramina into the Earth because they found like life signals on Ramina, and they get there and it's just Ramina with like these tentacles holding up these like astronaut costumes, but the guys are already dead. It's wow, man, the way that this just escalates and it just gets super duper, like, Ramina is such a bitch. She's literally a planet. It's like Unicron, basically. But she is such a bitch. It's really, really entertaining, man. It's really cool. I will say that this is one of the harder Junji Ito ones to read because of all the scenes where you have to watch Ramina kind of get tortured by these people. Those are like the hardest parts to watch of it, but I don't want to spoil what happens at the end, but just saying, the end might make you happy if that's the case. So, I love this one. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, kind of underrated in my opinion. I personally put this one on the same level as Gyo and Uzumaki, up there with his bests, man. I love Ramina. I should be grading these, shouldn't I, man? Gyo and Uzumaki are S tiers, and so is Ramina. And my final Junji Ito long story is Black Paradox. Bought this one because it was one of the last long stories that I had left to experience from Junji Ito. Went into it not really expecting much because I've never really heard anybody talk about it, and I was blown out of my chair by this because I loved it. This is another extremely underrated work by Junji Ito. I read the whole thing in one sitting, just like Ramina. Takes about an hour to read the whole thing, and it is a really amazing mystery. My only complaint with this is that it just ends very, very abruptly. I would have really loved this to be longer. Maybe if he could have made a second volume or a sequel to this, would have been awesome. Still could do it in the future, but man, this was crazy. It deals with stuff like the afterlife, what happens after you die and whatnot. Just really, really awesome. The the premise for it is these 4 people decide that they want to end it all. They want to commit suicide. So they join up and they're going to commit suicide, and then they see these doppelgangers of themselves. And then the mystery starts to unravel from there. Don't want to give too much away. This is a really good one. I will admit this, it's been a while since I read this one, so my memory on it is just a little bit foggy. I still remember the base storyline, but really fantastic. Another very underrated work from Junji Ito. I have to imagine that people who say his long stories aren't as good as his short stories are people that just have not read any of his long stories, because man, he does an immaculate job when he really puts his mind to it and makes a long story like Black Paradox, Ramina Gyo, some of his best work in my opinion. I'm going to give this an A+. And last but not least, we have these short story collections. I have 4 of them. You can see them back here. I have Shiver, Smash, Tombs, and Alley. I'll just bring up Smash for this because it's my personal favorite. I really love Tombs as well, as it does have my personal favorite short story, which is Slug Girl. But when it comes to Junji Ito short stories, you can't really go wrong. They're just fantastic. He does such a great job in building this really, really creepy element or whatever is happening in this very, very tight, compact little story. It's amazing. You can't go wrong with Junji Ito short stories. They're really, really great. And in my opinion, if you do want to get into his short stories, you've already checked out all the greats, Gyo, Uzumaki, Ramina. Smashed is the way I recommend going, because it really doesn't have a weak link in here. Every single one of the stories in here from beginning to end is really, really awesome. I will admit the comedy one wasn't one of my favorites. I didn't really enjoy that one too much. Still perfectly readable though. But the first one, Blood-Sucking Darkness, this one was a real big surprise. I really, really enjoyed it. There's also one later in here called Death Row Doorbell, which was amazing. Probably one of my favorite short stories of his. And then you also have the famous Earthbound short story in here, one of his most popular short stories, and for good reason. That one is amazing. So the short stories, you can't go wrong with any of them. Junji Ito is just an incredible, incredible mangaka. And as I have gone through my Junji Ito mangas in this video, I have realized just how special this man's work is. So Kishimoto might be a little farther behind than I thought he was, because Junji Ito is the GOAT. But speaking of the one and only Kishimoto, next up is Naruto. So when it comes to Naruto, as you can see my shrine up here, glorious, glorious. It is my favorite series of all time. I watched it for the first time at the beginning of last year. I know that's insane if you haven't heard that before. I've said this so many times on my channel, but if you're new to my channel, seeing me for the first time, I know that's a crazy thing for me to say, but it is true. I did not grow up with Naruto, and yes, it is my favorite series of all time. It became that last year at the beginning of that year. Let that be a lesson to all of you who say Naruto is just nostalgia and whatnot. No, it's not. Naruto is a fucking masterpiece. I've never said this before, but I'm going to say it now. If you don't, Naruto has its haters, and if you are a Naruto hater, I'm gonna say it, you just don't get it. There is something about Naruto as a series, at its base structure, at its molecules, that for some people, it will become you will never be able to stop thinking about it. It will become your whole world if you are that certain people. And there's so many of those people out there. And last year, I became one of them. I realized that I am one of those people. There is just something in the base structure of Naruto that if you have it, it will be your favorite thing ever. Not everybody has it, obviously. That's what the big 3 is great. Everybody has their favorite of the big 3. But if you have it, Naruto is quite possibly the best thing that you can experience as a human. When it comes to the manga, I'm very much more of an anime fan when it comes to Naruto. I have watched the entire anime, and I have started a rewatch of it as well, working on my second watch basically. I love the anime so much. I don't know how I will feel when I eventually do read the manga, because I do want to read the manga. As you can see, I do have the first manga box set. This was actually a Christmas present from my mom, though. I did not pay for this or buy this on my own accord. She got this for me. Awesome Christmas present. I love it. It'd be awesome if she got me the other ones throughout like the next like 5 years or something. I don't know. But eventually, I do want to read Naruto the manga, because I do expect it to be a very different experience, not having to deal with the pacing issues, it being a lot more fast-paced and whatnot. But also, I will also say, The artwork, Kishimoto's artwork, from what I've seen in the Naruto manga, is outstanding, man. He has such amazing artwork when it comes to that series. And I have read Boruto, we'll get into that later. But seriously, Kishimoto's artwork is absolutely immaculate, and I do want to read it. One reason that I am a little bit hesitant to eventually read Naruto is that, for me, one of the best things about Naruto is the soundtrack in the anime. It is outstanding. It has the best lineup of openings of all time, in my personal opinion. Like, the strongest, most consistent anime opening playlist of all time, where you can literally just turn it on and just jam to it, with the exception of a few songs in the middle of Shippuden towards the beginning of the 4th Great Shinobi War. There's a couple in there that are not my favorite, but for the most part, every opening in Naruto is just absolutely extraordinary. All the OSTs as well, you know, you've heard them 1,000 times. The all that music, man. The guitar one as well. Even the goofy one at times does it for me. The music is just so special in Naruto. So I don't know about taking the music out of the equation when it comes to the series, but one day I will read the manga, and I am excited for that day to come. But at the moment, I am mostly, when it comes to this series, which is my favorite series of all time, it's mostly because of the anime. But someday, it will happen. I do want to say one thing, though, with this box set. It's really, really funny. My dad actually bought me... This is the box set. All 27 volumes of part 1 of the Kid Era right here. And my dad actually bought me the first volume around the time I got into Naruto. He bought this for me as just a little random present. He also got me the character guidebook up there. Awesome present. But then my mom went and got me this manga box set, so I got another copy of this. But luckily, you can fit one extra manga in this box set space to slip in one more. So I have 2 copies of volume 1. You can see it. One at the top there, and one at the bottom there. So yeah, kind of fun in my opinion. Just wanted to share that. But yeah, that's the next thing. Naruto, you don't need me to give you, it's S plus times infinity. It's Naruto. And that brings us to Boruto. And I absolutely love this series. It honestly disgusts me how, like, despised and universally, like, panned this series is, because Kishimoto and Ikimoto are doing an incredible job with this, making a sequel to the original masterpiece of Naruto. Naruto's story is over. It has been concluded. The beginning is perfect. The ending is perfect. Naruto is a masterpiece. This is a new story. And if you can separate it from that, it is an amazing, amazing shonen. You basically have a whole reformatted world here in the same world as Naruto. New stuff going on with the power system, new, like, Kege Genkais and whatnot, the addition of technology being introduced into the world of, into Konoha and whatnot. You know, you've got computers and whatnot, which did start getting introduced in Naruto in the end, in the blank period. Started seeing them getting laptops, computers, TVs and whatnot. They've brought modern technology into the world of shinobis, and they have achieved a whole new frame of a story here. Like an entire other world that's still in the same world as our original masterpiece. People just need to separate this series from Naruto, and they will realize that it is absolutely amazing. And Kishimoto has been cooking his ass off with this series from the beginning. And if you watch the anime as well, there's some things that go back and forth on the anime and the manga. I prefer the manga overall because obviously it cuts off all of the filler, and I also much prefer how Naruto looks in the manga. He just looks so much better in the manga than he does in the anime. They really did him dirty in the anime. Overall, the anime's production quality is just very, very low. That's the big problem with the anime, but then when the anime is actually trying, like it's adapting the Chunin exam arc or the Otsutsuki Awaken arc, which are by far the 2 best arcs in the original Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, it cooks, man. The anime goes absolutely crazy. The Chunin exam arc is immaculate, 1,000 times better than it is in the manga. I have read both the manga and watched the anime. I'm a massive fan of this. I truly believe Boruto. I truly believe it deserves more credit than it's getting. So much more credit than it's getting. Really does feel like it's starting to turn around with Two Blue Vortex, which I'll get into in a second. But honestly, as someone who has read the manga, I don't understand why it was ever contested to begin with, other than the fact that the anime was taken, Studio Period did the anime very, very dirty by giving it all these filler, and all the filler episodes are truly awful. As someone who has watched all of Boruto beginning to end, there are some rough patches, do not get me wrong. Like, Steam Ninja Scrolls, unwatchable. Unwatchable. The Chocho arc that happens right after the Chunin exam arc where Chocho falls in love with that movie kid, completely unwatchable. There's some horrible writing in some of those filler arcs as well, some of those anime canon arcs like the Mitsuki disappearance arc. Truly abysmal at times, I will not lie. But at other times, it fucking cooks. And at the end of the day, that's the thing in Naruto as well. As amazing as Naruto is, Pierrot did it as well, and there are low points in Naruto. There is production quality problems with Naruto, all of that. Everything that Boruto gets shit on, Naruto has as well. The world really just needs to give this manga a chance, man, because it is really, really special. Kishimoto has been doing an incredible job with this series. And I really praise his ability to do so. His ability to constantly introduce new things into this world that is already so established blows my mind. And with that being said, let's talk Two Blue Vortex. So at the time of recording this, Two Blue Vortex is only one physical volume. As you can see, actually, when it comes to manga, I'm a physical reader. I always want to read it physically. I don't think I've ever even read anything online. The only volume that's come out for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is volume 1. I have read this twice, and I can't even begin to suck this off enough. This is fucking amazing. And just further proves that Kishimoto is one of the best mangakas of all time. He is continuing to push this story and this world even further. I don't even know how that's possible at this point. He's starting to make the entire Kaguya section of Shippuden feel so much more needed than it ever did if you never actually jumped into Boruto. I can't really say much about Two Blue Vortex as I've only read this first volume, but I cannot wait to get the next volume. I'm counting down the days. I have it pre-ordered, man. I'm getting it day one. I'm gonna read it day one. This so far is just outstanding. Like, I honestly cannot praise it enough. The characters are incredible. I love the character design as well. Obviously, Naruto, in my opinion, has the best character design in all of anime, like, no questions. The best characters in all of anime. And Boruto is just continuing it, evolving it. I love Sarada's design. I love Boruto's new TBV design. Like, look at this boy. Look how dripped out that boy is. Oh my god, the day we get an SH Figure Arts of TBV Boruto, man, that will be a glorious day. But seriously, not enough good things I can say in the English language to accurately describe how good this is. I was so hyped for this, so worried I was going to overhype it for myself. Immediately started reading it. Overhyped wasn't even popped into my head. This was so amazing from beginning to end. I love Kawaki. I love having Shikamaru be the new Hokage. Just everything from beginning to end about this is fucking immaculate. Cannot wait to see where Kishimoto takes this, man. Blowing it out of the damn stratosphere. Alrighty, we're getting through this. We're getting to the home stretch here. Gonna get this one out of the way next. Right now, my That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime manga box set. So I do have both of them. I have the first one here, and I have the second one here. Picked these up on sale. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is one of my all-time favorite animes. I have said this so many times. And I really just bought these to have them and for the amazing artwork on the sides here. And I truly love them. I did get them on sale. Actually, no, I did pay full price for these. I remember I could have gotten them on sale. They were on sale, but I instead paid full price for them because I wanted to support the series and I wanted to support Fuse for making this series that once upon a time was my all-time favorite anime. And yeah, it was once my all-time favorite anime. You can go back, check out some old videos I made about it where I just constantly say that this is my all-time favorite anime, and it's still up there. It's still in my top 5. I love this show so much. It's so underrated in my opinion. I think this anime is better than Demon Slayer, JJK, My Hero, all of it. It's one of the best animes I've ever watched. It has such incredible storytelling, immaculate music, and for me personally, I haven't even read these mangas. I really did just pick these up for the artwork. I have not even read these mangas. I've been told that these kind of box sets here are kind of bad because once you read the manga and it stretches out the pages, you can't fit them back in here. So I'm a little bit worried to ever read these. And it's not even the original source material. The original source material for Tensora, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, is light novels actually. So this is actually just an adaptation of the anime. This came after the anime, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I believe this came after the anime. And in my personal opinion, the anime is the way to go for this series. This series has one of my, I've said it so many times, it's one of my all-time favorite animes. It's incredible. The music, the story, all of it. It's so entertaining. It's so amazing. Even the spin-off Slime Diaries and the movie Crimson Bond, all of it, just start to finish, immaculate. My favorite isekai, my favorite fantasy anime. Just cannot suck this off enough. The manga, Again, just bought these for display purposes, and I do love them. But, yeah, just watch the anime, man. It's fucking extraordinary. That's How I Got Reincarnated Slime is an S+ all the way. All right, we're at the home stretch here, guys. Good night, Pun Pun. These last two are really the reason why I wanted to make this video, to get all my thoughts on these last two series out there. So I'm not gonna re-explain why this is one of the first mangas I ever read. I'm sure if you're a huge manga fan and you're watching this right now, not knowing anything about me, then you're probably like, wow, he went from Boruto to Goodnight Pun Pun, what the hell? There's a story behind this. There's a reason why I read this so early on into my manga thing. And if you want to know that story, go check out my previous video I did on Goodnight Pun Pun. It's just called I'm Reading Goodnight Pun Pun. I'll put a link to it in the description down below if you want to know the story behind this. But there is a story behind it, but I read the whole thing. I know I didn't follow up on the video. I did put a community post up, and I did put a little pinned comment on the video about this, because I didn't follow up with a review or anything, because I just couldn't figure out how to make a full video about it. But, like I said, this video, one of the main purposes for this video is for me to talk about this series. I absolutely loved it. It's beautiful. It's an amazing, amazing manga. But I will admit, I think the reputation of it, like, breaking you, of it, like, ruining your life and depressing you to the point of never coming back is a little overhyped, in my opinion. I honestly think that this story has so much more to tell and do for you than just depress you and make you miserable. And I do believe it was trying to do that. When you read this manga, it very much feels like Inio Asano set out to ruin your life, basically. And that's what everybody says it does. Everybody says that you read this manga and it ruins your life, it ruins your happiness. And again, when you read this, it does feel like that was Inio Asano's goal, was to literally kill your ability to be happy. But for me, it failed. And instead, it just gave me a really beautiful, emotional, thought-provoking story. Don't get me wrong, it's a sad manga. It's very depressing. It's basically like watching a train wreck in slow motion. The most beautiful written train wreck you've ever seen in your life. This kid's life, this person's life, Pun Pun, is nightmarish. It's incredibly depressing. This kid cannot get... this kid can't even get out of the first layer of depression, man. And the way Inio Asano framed this story, the structure of it, the whole metaphors of the bird characters and whatnot, the freaking face of God right there popping up everywhere, freaking Shimizu's whole thing with the poop god. If you read it, then you know everything, all of the things, later on when he just turns into the triangle for those few chapters, all of the craziness that he put into this manga about the metaphors, the one-eyed Dharma and everything with Pegasus and the gang, all of it is just so, is very, very, very impressive. Like, it's hard to follow at times, a lot of the time, and you definitely do have to, like, look up interviews and whatnot and read some, like, articles to fully understand the story. Like, you will not be able to understand it on your first read. If you just read it and you just go through and you don't know anything, you don't know, like, the subtext about everything about the one-eyed Dharma, everything about Pegasus, everything about that, it's going to be a little less, it's going to confuse you for sure. I think it's supposed to, but once you figure everything out, you look up some interviews, you look up some things online that explain what's going on with the whole thing, why Pegasus was in there, what the deal is with the one-eyed Dharma and all that. It all makes sense by the end, and it is masterful. Incredible storytelling. And I love the beginning. The beginning is one of my favorite sections. It's so, so well done. The kid era, super exciting for a kid era, like you would expect. A book talking about a kid's life wouldn't be all that interesting. You know, he goes to school, he talks with his friends. This shit gets intense, man, for happening to a kid. It's crazy. It's very, like, real feeling as well. It really does feel like you're experiencing the psyche of this person. And as you go through the story, as you go through the series, tragedy after tragedy, everything, and you get to the end, I really don't want to explain what happens at the end. It's so famous. If you read it, it's such a, it never leaves your head what happens at the end of this manga. It's crazy. And I can absolutely pinpoint the exact moment where everybody says this manga will break you. It will destroy your happiness. I know exactly what moment they're talking about, because when it got there, yeah, it was rough. My jaw dropped. There's a moment in, like, the second to last, this one, the Black Book, there's a moment in that one that's going to challenge your your psyche. But the ending, as far as I can understand, it seems like people either view the ending as good or bad, and I personally viewed it as good while reading it. I'm not sure what the experience will be like if you perceive it as bad when you get to the ending, but I personally perceived it as good. And when I finished the manga, I was happy. I was happy that I read this story. I felt complete. It was a story that I wanted to read for so long, and I did it, and when I finished it, I was like, I'm so glad I read that. That was amazing. That was so beautiful. That was so thought-provoking. I loved every second of it. I will keep these mangas forever. I will read this series again in the future, and I will love it always. So worth it. This was so worth all the hype, all the build-up. I loved it. But, once again, I will say, I think the reputation is a little overrated. And if you want to read this story, but you're scared because of the reputation, provided you're over the age of 18, because there's some really crazy stuff that happens in this manga. So if you're not over the age of 18, absolutely no way. This is for adults. This is for mature people. But if you're over the age of 18 and you want to read this and you're curious about it, I say go for it. I say grab the first book and jump into it and just go on the ride. Maybe it will do something to you by the end. It didn't for me, but maybe it will but for you. But I still recommend it if you want to read it, of course. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. Because I can understand it not being for you. This entire manga was made, like you can tell, Inio Asano made this manga to be sad and depressing. The entire purpose of it, they literally talk about it in the manga, about like misery porn and whatnot, and just and reading or watching something that does nothing but be depressing and everything. Although I will say, it is very entertaining as well. There's some very entertaining moments in Goodnight Bun Bun. In that first book, there's one moment that had me on the floor laughing. It was so goddamn funny. Sure, you know what I'm talking about if you've read it. But yes, it is supposed to depress you. That is the purpose of that manga. So if you don't want that, if you don't think that's for you, then it's not for you. But if you want to read it, I say go for it. Provided everything I said earlier, you're over the age of 18, you really want to read it, I say go for it. I don't think it's going to ruin your life or anything. It didn't for me. Really loved it. Goodnight Pun Pun, S+, definitely. Definitely one of the best mangas I've ever read. I haven't read too many mangas, but really incredible story, brilliantly told. Like I said, you will have to do some research afterwards. You'll have to discover like what's going on with the One-Eye Dharma and everything like that. But once you put everything together, yeah, it's a masterpiece. And speaking of masterpieces, we're here, ladies and gentlemen, the final one. This video was a little bit more taxing than I was expecting it to be, but it was a ton of fun. Gonna take quite a while to edit. But my final one, and honestly probably the biggest reason why I wanted to make this video, even though I don't think this segment is going to be that long, Vagabond. My previous video was me unboxing this definitive edition. Really loved how that video came out. Thank you so much for all the support it got. It got way more love than I was expecting it to get as someone who doesn't really make manga-related content that often. Super happy with how that video was received, and I'm very proud of that video personally. And I finished it and I went and I read this. It took me about 4 days, 4 sittings to get through the whole thing. And Vagabond is well on its way to being my favorite manga of all time. This was extraordinary from page 1. I am obsessed with this manga after one book. Berserk couldn't even keep me interested after the first book. This, I am counting down the days for the next definitive edition to come out. This was one of the most incredible pieces of fiction I have ever read. And I'm one book in. 3 volumes of a 37-volume long manga. Right now, it's not even finished. I don't see how this is not going to become my favorite manga of all time. And I've heard that it just keeps getting better. I don't even know how you do better than what's in this manga. This entire, what is compacted in this particular book is a masterpiece. The arcs feel like movies. They are so cinematic and so just gripping and raw. Like the action and everything, the writing, the action, everything about this manga is extraordinary. including the releases. This is gonna be my favorite line of manga of all time as well. These definitive editions. I love this first one to death. It's my favorite manga in my collection right now. And I just cannot wait to get the others as well, each with their own bottom half with a new character on here and everything. I can't psych this off enough. This is well on its way to being my favorite manga of all time. I have nothing bad to say about it whatsoever. I love the characters, strangely charming. They are, like Otsu, super duper cute and fun character. The main character, Takezo or Miyamoto, absolutely incredible character, such amazing writing. The artwork is extraordinary. This fucking manga is like next level of almost anything else I've ever seen. This is probably like one of the highest quality pieces of fiction I'm ever going to experience in my life, man. I'm obsessed with it. I cannot say enough amazing things about this. If you have ever been interested in Vagabond, if you've ever wanted to get into it, buy these definitive editions as they come out and read along with me. Because if this story truly does continue to exceed what it has already done for me, this will be my favorite manga of all time. Oops, I forgot Black Clover. I forgot Black Clover. This is a quick one though. I love the Black Clover anime, and when it finished, because of the hiatus that it's on, I didn't want to wait, so I picked up the manga starting from volume 27. This is where the anime leaves off about like 75% of the way through this. It's not even the end of the encounter. If you've watched the Black Clover anime, the fight between Asta and Liba, that's not even meant to be the end of that encounter. It's crazy. This goes on for like another volume and a half, and it's awesome. Like, Noct is a really cool character. Black Clover's just awesome. If you want a really, really fun shonen, battle shonen, then Black Clover is one of the best out there, man. It doesn't have as much just to say about like Naruto or something, but it's so much fun. The action is awesome. The characters are awesome. There's not like too much when it comes to like, Naruto obviously is a masterclass of shonen, but it's also a masterclass of storytelling and character development. It has those moments like the breaking the cycle of hatred moments and all that. If you know Naruto, then you know what I'm talking about. There's moments in Naruto that exceed battle shonen, that exceed just action and craziness. That's why I love the series so goddamn much, that it perfectly combines both of those. Black Clover really just knocks it out of the park with the action and doesn't really have a lot of that other thing going for it. There's still some stuff, there's still some moments that'll really, really make you feel like a moment towards the end of the Spade Invasion arc involving Noelle, that was really, really emotional and really, really amazing. This manga can absolutely deliver those moments, but it's not on the same level as Naruto. It's far more just about the action, the entertainment, and it's incredible. It's one of my favorite series of all time right now. I love it to death. I love the characters. I love Asta. I think he's one of the best characters in modern shonen, far better than Tanjiro and Deku and all them. Incredible, honestly. If you just want to experience a shonen because you love action, you love what shonen usually has to offer, Black Clover's an absolute must read, a must watch, whatever. I love the anime. The music is incredible in the anime, but the manga, probably one of the easier mangas I've had to following action. Still kind of tough at times, especially like, where is it? This one? Yeah. This one that has the Yuno versus, what's his name? Xenon. Been a little while. That fight, little difficult to follow for me, but that was like the only one. Like the one in Noelle. This one, yeah. The one in this, Noelle versus Megacula, that was pretty darn easy for me to follow. Absolutely love this one, man. Yeah, Black Clover's absolutely amazing. I'm a little bit behind on the manga. I do have all of it. I do have 34, 35, and 36 on volume. I'll just bring up 36 here. I am fully caught up with the volume releases, but I haven't jumped into these last 3 yet. This was like around like as soon as I finished Black Clover, that was when I got into Naruto. So I think you can imagine what happened there, but still absolutely love this manga. I cannot recommend it enough. All right, and with that being said, that is truly it. That is my entire collection. Yeah, almost an hour-long video. That's about what I was expecting this to be. I really wanted to go in-depth on all these series, and I'm personally very happy with how this came out. I think this is going to be a super fun video. Thank you all so much for watching the video, and this is DK Guillotine, signing out.